Yaffee program on WVNN.
You know, in recent elections, we talked about the power of the Trump endorsement, the power of money being spent, the power of negative ads. You know, we've gone over all of that. Traditional retail politics, everything. But it looks like now, at least in some city elections, not really here, not really in Huntsville or Alabama or anything, but other places in the country, in terms of city elections, we now see apparently the power of Zohran Mamdani. There were some elections yesterday and some congressional primaries in New York City. And he did well. His endorsements, his campaigning, his rallying, it's worked in some areas in this country. Now, you might be wondering, how? How in the world is this happening? Mamdani, who is a pretty radical left-winger, pretty close to being an anti-Semite. I mean, I think he is, but it would be nice, close to being one. Pretty radical solutions, openly democratic socialist. He's basically a Marxist. He would not put it that way, but he is. How does someone like that do so well? And how do other candidates like him? How is it that there is a rise of democratic socialism in this country, in big cities? I'm going to explain that. I want to get into that. I'll relate it to something as well that both of our Alabama U.S. senators have talked about recently. And there was actually a split between Katie Britt and Tommy Tuberville on that. But I think it's a pretty important topic because this is something we're not going to just deal with in other places. Well, you know, you could see this kind of stuff gaining traction in Montgomery or Birmingham or something. Why? Why is democratic socialism so appealing to so many people in this country? So we'll talk about that. I don't mean to be a downer. Trust me, I have solutions as well. You are listening to the Yaffee program. This is the show where you can count on the latest news, the important guests, and the best analysis, all for your morning commute. Here on News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM at WVNN. Also coming up on the show, we'll have the Alabama bullet points. At the bottom of the hour, we're going to speak with someone who is going to be our next U.S. Senator, Barry Moore. Congressman Barry Moore is joining me. We'll talk about the latest with his campaign. Believe it or not, his campaign is not over. He still has to win the general. I mean, I think he will, pretty obviously, but still, he's still got a campaign. So we'll talk to him. By the way, the current senator, Tommy Tuberville, had some comments on the SAVE Act, which I thought were interesting. We'll get to that later. In the next hour, we got to talk about the latest in Iran. I've been going over the good cop, bad cop routine. You have J.D. Vance, who is apparently being the good cop. Donald Trump really wants to be more of the bad cop. So Marco Rubio is over there, I guess being the ref. I kept asking people, what should he be called? He's been really a good voice of reason, honestly, but I guess he's the ref, maybe? or the judge? I don't know. You have good cop, bad cop, referee, judge. I have no idea. The closer, maybe you can call him that. But we'll discuss that in the next hour. And, of course, we have What's Trending. That's coming up on the show today. Walker is here producing. She'll do What's Trending later on. Walker, how are you today?
Well, I slept in as long as possible today
So did I.
because yesterday from like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., there were contractors working on the apartment behind me. So it was just this incredibly loud, like knocking sound for 12 hours.
Ooh, I'd have left.
On my day off.
Yeah, I don't know. Go buy some silencing headphones or something. I have no idea. I don't know what the solution is to that. So you were up that whole time, I guess.
Yes.
There was no taking a nap during that.
Unfortunately not.
Okay. Well, yeah, that would be annoying. I totally understand that. You should have just, I don't know, played some nice music. Just turn it up. Does that help? Maybe.
Maybe. I'll try it next time.
All right. By the way, I'll end the show with the Yaffee program rewind. Of course, we always have your text messages on the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. So let me give you the latest here. I'm going to read some of this from the New York Times. Mayor Zohran Mamdani and his allies swept a series of congressional primaries in New York City on Tuesday in a remarkable show of strength for the insurgent left that sent shockwaves through the Democratic Party. Now, Mr. Mamdani's candidates toppled a pair of incumbents backed by the city's political establishment, including major labor unions and the House Democratic leader. Now, another candidate backed by the mayor won an open House seat, and a handful of Democratic Socialist challengers he supported were winning down the ballot. Now, for months, Mr. Mamdani threw himself and his energized political organization into 3 marquee congressional contests, campaigning late into the night in the race's final days and calling the election a referendum on the direction of the party. By the way, he's right on that. This is totally a referendum on the direction of the Democrat Party. We all knew it was going in that direction, but he's right. It's a referendum. Now, all the winning candidates share Mr. Mamdani's progressive economic platform, and they each ran campaigns that focused intently on ending American support for Israel, a sign of how far public opinion has shifted on the issue, even in New York. I mean, there was a time in New York you were not going to see something like that. We'll get into the whole Israel issue in a moment, but I think a lot of it has to do with the economic issues and other progressive issues. And why is this so appealing to people in, say, New York City? Why? Now, it says here, Mr. Mamdani's deep involvement amounted to an audacious gamble for a brand new mayor trying to lead an already fractious city. He alienated key allies along the way, but the payouts were far-reaching, at least according to the New York Times here. At home, the outcome will now cement him as the unquestioned political kingmaker of the nation's cultural and financial capital, and the Democratic Socialists of America as a formidable force. By the way, I believe he's also campaigning for someone running for Washington, D.C. mayor and all of that stuff. So how do we get to this point? Well, before we do that, by the way, Walker, do you have the audio ready by chance?
I do.
Good. Let's go to, I want to play this cut from Van Jones because he was on CNN kind of reacting to these elections. He's pretty much a Democratic Socialist himself, a pundit on CNN, and he reacted to all this. Play the Van Jones cut for me.
Well, first of all, New York City matters because the 2 most exciting left-wing candidates are here, AOC and Mamdani, but also this is the stronghold for the establishment, Schumer and Hakeem Jeffrey. This is a battle between the establishment and this insurgency, and the roof is collapsing on the Democratic Party establishment tonight. If Mamdani gets a hat trick, 3 out of 3, this is a new era for the Democratic Party, and you can't write off New York City because this is the place where both it's a power center for the establishment and the insurgency, and they're going head-to-head tonight. And right now, this is no longer a movement. This is a movement and a machine at the same time. There's just no way to sugarcoat this. If Mamdani pulls off a hat trick, it is a new era in Democratic Party politics.
So I think he's right on that, even though we knew this was going into that era. Now, I think it could end up hurting Democrats in the long run because this gives an opportunity for Republicans to say, look, we're not crazy socialists. You know, the value of the Republican opposition really helps them. But how do you get to this point? Well, I really think it's because they're at least focusing on some key issues, which I've talked about a lot on the show. And it's especially true in places like New York City. You look at some key economic areas where people are really struggling in this country, and you look, it's the cost of housing, the cost of tuition, and the cost of health care. Oh, and the cost of child care. All of those things. And I know many of you listening right now experience the struggle because we just see skyrocketing costs in all of these areas. And you feel like, you know, you should be doing much better off than you are because of the cost of those things. Now, this actually came up recently because there is a bill that was passed in a Senate committee that Katie Britt is for, but Tommy Tuberville is against. It's the 21st Century Road to Housing Act. It has been voted. It's heading to President Trump's desk, so it is going to pass. But Tommy Tuberville is against it. He said, I'm all for looking for ways to bring down housing costs for American families. But giving the federal government more control over housing is not the answer, he said. We have seen time and time again that writing a blank check to blue cities means that federal tax dollars will end up in the hands of illegals Instead of going to the American citizens, it was intended to help. Tuberville said the bill also expands the already bloated Department of Housing and Urban Development, which he said is the opposite of what we need to be doing. By the way, Tuberville's right. That is the opposite. Now, I think there are some good things in this bill. A lot of this bill focuses on building more. That's what you have to do. But at the very least, Republicans are trying to address this now. But what has happened in places like New York City is you have Mamdani out there saying, look, these things are too expensive, so I'm going to make it cheaper. It's a pretty simple message. Remember, affordability was the word, whatever. But he's basically saying, look, I'm the government. We're not taught the true role of government anymore. That's one of the other issues. So he says, look, I'm with the government and I'm here to help. That's his message. It should scare you, but that's his message. And he says, we'll just have the government pay for housing. We'll just have the government pay for health care. We'll just have the government pay for child care. It'll be quote unquote free to you. This will be great. And people who don't really understand economics or the true role of government and they're just struggling because they're just trying to take care of their family say, okay, I'm willing to try anything. Now, here's a warning, though. Here's one of the problems. The thing is, these Democratic Socialists are being successful because they're pretty good at diagnosing the issue. They're pretty good at diagnosing the problem, that people are really struggling and this should be the focus. But what they're not good at is really explaining where the problem comes from. If you want to look at why housing is so expensive, especially in New York City, look no further than policies like rent control, which screw up the market, does not help prosperity. Look at policies like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, government-sponsored entities, and the amount of subsidies that have been poured into the housing market by, yes, the federal government, just screwing up our housing market. It was all based on good intentions. It was all just like Mamdani. Oh, we'll just pay for it. It'll be great. But then when you actually look at it, it just screws up the market. Their solution is just more of the same, and people need to be educated on that. But they're really trying to solve a problem that they created. It was not the free market that created this problem. It was not capitalism that created this problem. Evil, greedy businesses. I'm not saying businesses are perfect, but it was these government policies where they made it harder and harder to build. They put more and more subsidies into the market. And this is also true of healthcare. This is also true of college tuition. We can go down the list. And it's kind of a warning. Once again, I've done this several times, but once again to Republicans. The Democrat Socialists are completely wrong and backwards on the solution. But they at least are talking about it. They are at least trying to come up with solutions, and they are at least diagnosing the problem. So if you want to know why Mamdani does so well and Democratic Socialists do so well, that's part of the reason. Now, the other reason is illegal immigration. I'll just be honest with you. You have so many illegal immigrants who are not educated in our culture, our government, our history, and then they vote for other people who are not born here either. That's one of the problems as well. If you want to weigh in, you can. We have our Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. We're going to move on to some other stuff. The Alabama bullet points coming up next. Congressman Barry Moore at the bottom of the hour as well. You're listening to the Yaffee program. Stay with us.
You're listening to Yaffee on WVNN.
Newstalk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. We're back here on the Yaffee program. Glad you have joined the show. It's a revolution in common sense. By the way, Congressman Barry Moore, who's running for the U.S. Senate, going to join me in just a couple of minutes. Right now, though, let's get to some other headlines. We have those Alabama bullet points.
Alabama bullet points. Today's headlines from around the Yellowhammer State.
Sponsored by Larry's Pistol and Pawn. Number 4 today, Alabama's prime age workforce participation rises as unemployment reaches 3%. So Alabama's prime age labor force participation rate, that's ages 25 to 54, rose to 79.6% in May 2026. That is up from 78.7% a year earlier. signaling stronger workforce engagement among working age adults. At the same time, the state's overall unemployment rate edged up to about 3%. It was at 2.9% in May, with the number of unemployed rising to about 72,000 and the broader labor force participation rate declining slightly to 57.2%. Now, despite these mixed signals, wage and salary employment reached a record 2.22 million jobs. It's up 15,200 over the year, driven by gains in construction, leisure, and hospitality and government, of course, in the Huntsville area. And speaking of economic growth in Alabama, Eli Lilly and Space Command and other growth help earn Alabama what's called a Silver Shovel Award. So Alabama earned the 2026 Silver Shovel Award from the Area Development Magazine for its strong economic development performance in 2025. Now, this was driven largely by major projects in defense, aerospace, and pharmaceuticals. Now, key highlights include the U.S. Space Command's relocation to Huntsville, obviously. You also have Eli Lilly's $6 billion advanced manufacturing facility in Huntsville. It's going to create 450 jobs. It was also named a manufacturing project of the year. These, along with other investments in automotive, raw materials, and additional sectors, helped the state achieve record totals of $14.6 billion in capital investment and 9,388 new jobs across 234 projects. Governor Kay Ivey and Commerce Secretary Ellen McNair credited the state's infrastructure, workforce, and policies for its success. Number 2 today, State Senator April Weaver said she is ready to lead a legislative effort for firing squad executions. Kid you not, State Senator April Weaver out of Briarfield has expressed readiness to lead a 2027 legislative effort in Alabama to add firing squads as an approved method of execution. Now, this comes after recent court rulings, including the 11th Circuit and U.S. Supreme Court, halted the nitrogen hypoxia execution of convicted double murderer Jeffrey Lee by deeming the method unconstitutional under the Eighth Amendment. Now, Alabama currently authorizes lethal injection, nitrogen hypoxia, and electrocution. Now, with nitrogen hypoxia now sidelined by the courts, state leaders are turning to firing squads as a potential alternative that could meet constitutional standards. Weaver, a strong supporter of capital punishment, said she is closely monitoring the issue and is committed to ensuring death sentences are carried out efficiently. And number 1 today, Doug Jones, former senator, now running for Alabama governor, Democrat, says he is the same Doug Jones Alabama voted for in 2020. So he won the Democratic nomination for Alabama's governor with over 75% of the Democratic vote, campaigning against U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville in the November general election. He's emphasizing that he remains the same Doug Jones Alabama voters supported in 2020. Now, in a recent podcast appearance, Jones highlighted his focus on issues like healthcare costs, rising electricity rates, and I don't think people are going to, he lost back then. So if he's the same guy, I don't know why he thinks he's going to win now. By the way, the sponsor is the Alabama Bullet Points. The sponsor of the Bullet Points, it's Larry's Pistol and Pawn. Go to Larry's Pistol and Pawn in Madison off Greenbrier Exit 3 next to the big Rusty Water Tower. See some great deals today. As always, it's a great store to shop. Go to pistolandpawn.com as well. When you do, let them know Yaffee was the one who sent you.
The Yaffee Program.
One Night with Steiny.
One Night with Steiny. Shout out Full Send Nell. This is just about me being myself. Gonna be chaotic. I can't guarantee anything. All I can guarantee is that you're gonna be entertained. How can I join OVO?
You can keep DMing Drake or keep paying.
By the way, I like OVO.
How do you know that I do that?
I know you DM Drake all the time. I know.
How do you know that?
You paid me $3,000 on Venmo one time to text him for you.
Dude.
One Night with Steiny.
One Night with Steiny, baby. Let's go.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Newstalk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Yes, I am Alabama's voice of reason on your radio, but also on social media. If you ever go on X, you ever go on Facebook, whatever, you need a voice of reason there too. So what you want to do is like the Yaffee Facebook page, follow me on X at Yaffee or Instagram at Yaffee Live. Yes, I'll Remind you how to spell it, Yaffee. It's not Yappy, it's Yaffee, Yaffee. Follow me on social media. You can also follow WVNN on social media. So joining me on the show right now is Congressman Barry Moore. He is also a candidate for the U.S. Senate. He is the Republican nominee now for the U.S. Senate as he won the runoff primary, which we talked about on the show before. Congressman, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Hey, Yaffee, great to be on the Voice of Reason, my friend.
So you've been a voice of reason on this issue. You have legislation sitting in the House right now that would require labels on children's shows. We talked about it on the show before. It would be labels that push transgender propaganda, other LGBTQ stuff. And you pointed out this once again yesterday on social media because there's a new poll out that shows a majority of parents would prefer this, to have some type of warning when it comes to kids shows promoting this stuff. So talk about your bill, talk about this poll.
Yeah, I mean, we have warning labels on a lot of stuff to protect kids, whether it be tobacco or TV shows. I mean, we even rate movies, and so often we've seen that a lot of these kids shows that the parents think are safe are going to push the trans agenda. I think it's nearly 45% of what's on Netflix pushes a trans agenda towards your children. And so we think it's vitally important that parents know that, they understand that before they let their children watch this, because we don't want Hollywood, and I say don't California or Alabama, we don't want Hollywood indoctrinating our children. And so at least the parents need to be informed. So, again, I think that most parents would agree with us that they need a defining, okay, is this safe for my children to watch? What is this show going to push to these young, impressionable kids? And so, yeah, we've got, hopefully we'll get some movement on it, but we'd love to see those warning labels for children on trans stuff for parents to be informed of what the children are actually watching.
And, yeah, how would this be enforced specifically in your bill?
Well, so I think for us, it's just put some federal requirements like we would on anything that, if you got to have a warning label on even a CD or I guess now music, that you'd have a warning label as the show was coming on that, hey, parents be informed that this has a trans agenda, there's trans characters in it, and your children will be watching that. Now you make a decision as a parent. So we have some I think some latitude as federal regulators, often through the FEC and other things, to make sure that the kids that we have accountability to the networks or to these shows that are putting it out that, hey, if you don't follow this, then there will be consequences.
Yeah, it'd be good to see this. It's one of those things, right, where it's almost sad we have to do it. I wish we lived in a world where we didn't have to think about this kind of stuff, especially, like me, I have kids. Didn't want to think about this, but you have to. I mean, when the Muppet Babies or something are doing an episode on transgenderism, it's a problem.
Yeah, it's shocking. I mean, and Concerned Women America poll, 87% of the parents want these labels. And so it's not something that's outside. It's actually what parents want. And we have a responsibility often to make sure that these networks, again, have labels to let these parents know what these kids are going to be watching. And it's a shame. You got to watch it yourself to figure out what's in it before the kids sit down to watch it. And most often parents don't have time to do that. But warning labels will give them a way to sift through really quickly what's going on, what the kids are going to be watching. And it's a shame. 20 years ago, we never dreamed this would be an issue. Yeah, and here we are.
Speaking with Congressman Barry Moore, he is also a candidate for the U.S. Senate in Alabama. One thing you've been campaigning on, but also just talking about as a congressman, is trying to get the SAVE Act passed. It just seems like it has stalled in the Senate. I'm just not optimistic it's going to pass anytime soon, unfortunately. But what do you think?
Well, I don't know if you saw just a few minutes ago, the president is not signing. He's not going to sign the Housing Act, the Road to Housing Act, because Save America wasn't attached to it. And so I think he's sending a pretty strong signal because that came from the Senate. And, of course, I voted no in the House on it yesterday, partly because the Save America Act wasn't attached and some other things Maxine Waters put in it that I wasn't really crazy about. But the president just announced a few minutes ago he is canceling the signing of the bill on the the 21st Century Road to Housing Act because Save America is not attached. Save America is vitally important to secure these elections and make sure our republic is safe and we truly have U.S. citizens with IDs voting in U.S. elections. I don't know of anything more important right now, and that I've voted on since I've been in D.C. I've been here 5 years, but in recent history, we saw what happened in California. We see where they're still in these elections, and they're using non-citizens in many cases to do it, to undermine the very government that's supposed to be running this country. And so you talk about foreign interference in elections. I mean, they ran a Russian collusion narrative for a long time, talking about Russia interfered in our elections, and here we are. We're letting non-citizens vote in U.S. elections. I can't think of a more dynamic example of foreign interference in elections when you got non-citizens electing U.S. leaders.
I did not see that, so I'm glad you brought that up because that's a pretty important thing. You had mentioned there as well, I was talking about it a little bit earlier, that housing bill where Tommy Tuberville voted no, Katie Britt voted yes. You said really, other than the SAVE Act, you had some problems with it. Is it because it expands housing and urban development? I mean, what were some of the other issues in the bill? I think it's important for Republicans to address the issue of expensive housing. I mean, it's really it affects me personally, but it affects my generation, affects a lot of voters. So what do you think? Talk about the problems in the bill.
Yeah, I think for us too, often the federal government, we want to be helpful and we're not helpful. And sometimes regulatory environments and a ton of investment in urban areas, but that doesn't help Alabama as much. And so Maxine Waters was able to put a number of things in there that I don't think made the bill Republican friendly or conservative friendly. And there's tons of things we can do from a regulatory environment, a tax environment. We can continue to cut spending to lower inflation, to drop interest rates. Those sort of things are what we're trying to do, real solutions. And so, for us, it's we want, and the president understands the priority. I mean, I've got kids that are obviously about your age, maybe a little younger, that are trying to buy houses, and that American dream is fading fast, partly because of the money we spent during COVID. I mean, we printed so much money, inflation's hitting the housing market. And, the short-term issues that we're dealing with, obviously, on supply and demand things. But I think that there are things we can do, not from a regulatory, maybe decreasing regulations, but lowering the printing of money in Washington, D.C. so that inflation's not hampering us, the cost of goods and services. And so there are things we can do, but we should be focused on really creating a level playing field that benefits American families and local communities instead of the government trying to come in heavy-handed and primarily push agenda in urban areas. And so there's just some things I wasn't real happy about. And so, but I think too, a lot of my friends voted against it because Save America Act wasn't attached, and that was part of my concern as well. We need to really move that bill, and sometimes you have to push back on the Senate if they're not doing what the American people are asking. And look, the Save America Act's polling, 80%, 84% among Republicans, high 70s with Democrats. They all want it. The American people want it. And so I think the president just shot across the bow by refusing to sign this 21st Housing Act.
Well, and you've talked about the way to get it passed is to nuke the filibuster. I've heard Mike Lee talk about the idea of just keep debating it and kind of exhaust the Democrats, until eventually they'll vote for it. But that is one of the issues, right? Is right now you just don't have a filibuster-proof majority to get it done. I'm guessing part of this is Trump trying to get them to just finally nuke the filibuster.
I think you're right. And honestly, there's nothing in the Constitution. The Founding Fathers gave 6 exemptions for a 2/3 majority vote. And basically, when you let the minority control the agenda, which was what we're doing with the filibuster, then we're literally allowing the Democrats to shut down the Save America Act. And so I've been for nuking the filibuster. The president is, and I think Coach agrees with me. And if you look at, honestly, like the Constitution, it's a rule in the Senate. It is not by law. It's not anything. It's a rule they have put in place. And it's even the zombie filibuster. They don't even have to debate it right now on the floor. Mike Lee's pushing for just a debate. Let's get it on the floor and debate, and at least have it out there and maybe wear them down at some point. But not to even bring it to the floor, I think, is a mistake. And I think the president is by not signing this Housing Act, he's sending a message to the Senate, hey, we're not going to sign your bills until you get the Save America Act attached to something. And let's really do what the American people are asking us to do.
Speaking with Congressman Barry Moore, I was looking at your social media as well. You had talked about the fact, because the Homeland Security put this out, but it's been 13 straight months of 0 illegal aliens released into our nation. I mean, that is incredible. It is just such an example where it really was the policy of Joe Biden to have open borders. It just took a change in president, not even a change in law. So go ahead.
I mean, they said it all the time, and Trump said it in his State of the Union. He says, we don't need more laws. We just need to enforce the laws on the books. But again, if you're going to let people who are not citizens vote in U.S. elections and you want to maintain power, the first thing you do is import a bunch of people who are not U.S. citizens. Issue them IDs. Don't make sure that they're citizens. Just give them IDs like in California, and then let them vote, and we can maintain power. It's not what's best for the country. It's not about really – they opened the borders to bring people here to change the leadership of this nation, and that is the biggest foreign influence in elections that you're ever going to see, and it's happening right now. And that's why the president and us see this is if you want Republicans and you want conservatives to truly have fair and free elections, or at least fair and secure elections, we need to make sure that U.S. citizens are voting in these elections. And we see it time and time again where they load these blue cities, they count them in the census, and then it swings the balance of power in the House. And we lose control, and we get the Nancy Pelosi's of the world, the leftists, the AOCs in office, the Rashida Tlaibs. I mean, the list is long, Ilhan Omar's, and they literally start changing the very fabric of our nation. And so, the fact we shut the border down is a good start. We're moving people out of this country that are not here. Now we need to make sure that the ones that are here, the millions that came across with the Disney Fast Pass under Joe Biden, cannot vote in these elections.
Speaking with Congressman Barry Moore, he is also running for the U.S. Senate. Did want to get your take real quick on the latest in Iran. I mean, the negotiations continue. J.D. Vance was over there over the weekend in Switzerland trying to negotiate. What's your take on what's going on there?
I think it's pretty simple at this point. We've got a memorandum of understanding. There will be no nuclear Iran. There'll be no endless wars and no concessions that weaken the United States. And so any agreement must advance those objectives. I think the president is moving in. We're going to get a briefing here in a little bit from Pete Hegseth on the some of the details and the position that we're in right now. But it's a position of peace through strength. And so I think that the president is doing what many people talked about for over 40 years now, 4 decades, is he's dealing with Iran without sending them pallets of cash in the middle of the night. And he's put the sanctions on them. We put the military on them. We're showing that we mean business on this issue, and we will get it resolved.
Congressman Barry Moore, really appreciate you coming on the show. As always, I know we'll talk to you again next week.
Hey, thank you, Yaffee.
All right, there you go. If you want to react to that, and I will have more of the breaking news on what Trump said about the housing bill that we've been talking about this morning. We'll get to that in a moment and get your reaction on the Yaffee text line. Right now, got to tell you about VIP Care. You know, they specialize in primary care for adults 65 and older. So if you're 65 and older yourself, maybe a family that has to deal with doctors in that age group, you know, my parents do. Sometimes it really can be such a hassle, such a pain in the butt to deal with doctors and hospitals today. Well, let me tell you about a group where it's not a hassle, where it's not a pain in the butt to deal with. They're great. It's not like short appointments. They offer longer appointments. They give patients more time to ask questions, discuss concerns, and focus on their health. Plus, they can do same-day appointments and 24/7 support. Patients can often be seen, right away, and they're open 7 days a week. Like I said, convenient all-in-one care and local clinics close to home, including right here throughout North Central Alabama. Once you go to the website, see more information, make an appointment today, getvipcare.com. That's getvipcare.com. At VIP Care, you'll find that they put your health care first above anything else. VIPcare.com, getvipcare.com. When you go, let them know Yaffee was the one who sent you. We'll be back in a moment on the Yaffee program.
It's the Yaffee program on WVNN.
News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN, doing my part to make radio great again. What can I say? What can I say? The radio world needed me, and I am here. I am here to deliver. Anyway, Congressman Barry Moore in the last segment pointed out that there was breaking news out of President Donald Trump. He posted this on Truth Social. He said, today's housing news conference and signing is hereby canceled until such time as we pass the desperately needed Save America Act, which I consider to be a national emergency. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So we talked about at the top of the show where you have a housing bill that was supported by a majority of Republicans, not Tuberville, though, and Barrymore said he voted against it and gave some good reasons. But it was a way for Republicans to address the housing issue. Well, Trump says it's fine. I mean, he wants to sign it. He just wants... Now, it could be maybe he does want to get out of it, and he's not admitting that because there are problems with it. But also, he just wants to put pressure on the Senate to at least debate the Save America Act. To at least go through it, have a debate on it. Maybe force Democrats to try to defend their vote against it. So it's kind of understandable why he's doing that. I still don't think the votes are there to nuke the filibuster. You could maybe force called it a zombie filibuster or whatever. You maybe could have forced that or whatever, but I'm not optimistic. But we'll see what happens. But I did not know that until the congressman told me that. So we'll have to see. The Save America Act, though, should pass. Voter ID really is just common sense. It really is. I voted recently, and they checked my ID. And I wasn't offended at all. It wasn't hard. Oh, I mean, I had to get my wallet out and get the driver's license out. Oh, what a hassle. Oh, no, I had to reach into my pocket and get a license of drug. Oh, why are you doing this? I didn't feel oppressed or something. Jim Crow 2.0. So it is common sense. By the way, earlier on in the show, I was also talking about Zohran Mamdani, who did pretty well campaigning for Democratic Socialists, running for office in New York City. There were elections last night. Well, during a press conference at a rally recently, Mamdani was asked about something dealing with Israel. And this, I'm telling you, it is disturbing what we're seeing when it comes to this anti-Israel sentiment, which borders on anti-Semitism. We're seeing it from the extreme left and, yes, the extreme right. I really worry about where all this leads for our future. But go ahead if you can, Walker. Play the Mamdani cut that I sent you.
Some members of the Jewish community, including Democratic Congressman Josh Gottheimer, were alarmed by the language he used at the rally last week, calling AIPAC monsters who move dark money. These are phrases that invoke old anti-Semitic tropes and conspiracy theories. What do you say to those who are concerned that the language you used is dangerous?
Now, I want to be very clear. We're talking about a status quo where children are being killed on a daily basis. More than 1,000 Palestinians have been killed by the Israeli military since the so-called ceasefire. Even an Al Jazeera journalist, Ahmed Wishah, was killed this past Saturday by an Israeli strike. And when I am speaking about AIPAC, I'm speaking about an organization that has been supportive of the status quo, that has fought any attempt to actually deliver safety to people not just in Palestine, but frankly, through much of the region. And it is a status quo for immorality. It is one that I will not accept. And when it comes to the way in which they defend the status quo, oftentimes they defend it through direct contributions, as we are seeing right now in New York 13. Oftentimes they also support the status quo through dark money, by filtering money that would have previously been directly from AIPAC, now through other shell organizations whose identities of their contributors are only made clear after an election. And I think that it is important that when we ask ourselves how such death and destruction is happening overseas, we also name those who allow it to take place.
All right, we're going to go.
Name those who allow it to take place. Okay, I'm going to name them. Hamas, Hezbollah. Those are the ones that are allowing it to take place. Iran. This is my big problem. We're mad about the war and death and destruction. We'll be mad at Hamas and Hezbollah, who constantly want to wipe Israel off the map. That's the problem. All right, coming up in the next hour, we'll talk about Iran and much more. You're listening to the Yaffee program. Stay with us back in just a moment.
Listening to Yaffee on WVNN.
One Night with Steiny.
One Night with Steiny. Shout out, full send now.
Hey, bro, what's your name, bro?
Steiny, what the hell? We've been sitting here for like an hour together.
I don't know your name. What's your name, bro?
Steiny. I can't guarantee anything. All I can guarantee is that you're going to be entertained. I'm a professional. I'm here to interview.
So the whole interview, you didn't ask me what I like better, Burger King or McDonald's.
All right, and we are going to wrap up on that note. Thank you, Steve, so much. That was amazing.
Burger King.
One night with Steiny. One night with Steiny, baby. Let's go.
One Night with Stein. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
The Yaffee Program on WVNN.
All right, not too surprising here, but President Donald Trump slams congressional Iran war powers vote, says it's meaningless, which it is. I mean, it might be symbolic, I guess, in a way, but it's meaningless in terms of it doesn't really change anything in terms of the war in Iran. So President Donald Trump ripped the Senate for holding a war powers resolution vote on Tuesday, saying the measure was poorly timed and meaningless. Now, the Senate voted 50-48 to back legislation aimed at limiting U.S. military involvement in Iran. The measure, which previously passed the House, received support from 4 Republicans: Rand Paul, not too surprising, Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, Bill Cassidy. Now, John Fetterman was the lone Democrat to vote against it. So Trump wrote on Truth Social, says, "So I have Iran on the ropes, ready to go down for the fall, willing to give us practically anything, and for the first time in decades, respecting the hell of the United States and its president, me, and the U.S. Senate decides to have a poorly timed and meaningless War Powers Act vote, telling the number one sponsor of terror in the world that the United States doesn't like what I am doing to them, and I must stop, and by so doing has provided aid and comfort to the enemy." That's what Trump wrote on Truth Social. He also said 4 Republican losers voted with the Democrats. And yes, he said Democrats. That's what he typed here. And Iran asked my people, what does all that mean? These senators have just made my job more difficult, but I will get it done one way or the other because I always get it done. That's what Trump wrote on Truth Social today. So we'll talk about the latest in Iran and much more. You are listening to the Yaffee Program. This is the show where you can count on the latest news, the important guests, and yes, the best analysis, all for your morning commute, all from your voice of reason here on News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. So it seems to me the good cop, bad cop routine is continuing. You have J.D. Vance playing good cop, and it was Trump kind of playing bad cop. Rubio's kind of over there playing bad cop as well. Now, Trump did say, told this to Fox News, said that they'll make a deal, put it in writing, then they'll go out and say it's not true. They've agreed to it. They've agreed to the inspectors. So there was an issue because Trump, the U.S., said they agreed to inspectors coming in to Iran to make sure they don't have a nuke. And then they came out and told their own people, no, they didn't agree to that because it's all propaganda to their own people. But it creates confusion because our media hears what their media is saying. So he asked, what does this mean? And Trump is saying, look, they agreed to it. In fact, go ahead and play Trump cut 1 for me, Walker, as he talked about this.
Not only do they support it, they demand it because they won't allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon. You want to see trouble? Let them have a nuclear weapon. They're wrong. They're wrong. They know they're wrong. They told us inside, and we have it down 100% inspections. And if they were right, I'd cancel the meetings right now.
From your view, Mr. President, when will those inspectors actually be on the ground?
At the appropriate time. At the appropriate time. There's no rush, but they'll be on the ground at the appropriate time.
So the first part of that, it was Trump talking about other countries in the region, how they support helping in this effort because they don't want Iran to have a nuke either. But you hear him say, look, Iran is wrong. They're going to let in inspectors, and if they didn't, then the negotiations would be over, is what he said there. Now, that was before he was on his way to a rally in Pennsylvania yesterday, so that's what he said about it. Then at the rally, he gave a speech, of course, in Pennsylvania and talked about Iran. Play a Trump cut 2 for me.
The Iran economy has been crushed and their defense industrial base has been damaged so severely that it'll take them many years to rebuild, many, many years. And now we're trying to work out a deal that's fair. If Iran's reasonable, if they're smart, otherwise we'll have to finish the job, which will take about maybe less than a week.
Okay. You know, I hear that last part, and he says, well, then we'll have to finish the job, and it'll take less than a week. Let's just do it then. I know I keep repeating myself and saying that. But really, if it's that easy to, quote unquote, finish the job here, we should have just done it. And we should have done it weeks ago. Instead of this game we're playing. I know we want a good deal. We have to want this to succeed at this point. But I hear a comment like that, and I'm like, well, then let's just finish the job. Now, as I mentioned, Marco Rubio is in the Middle East. I know he's talking with the UAE, or did yesterday, having other talks with other regional allies. Before he left, though, he was talking to reporters. Go and play Marco Rubio cut 1 for me.
We know what they agreed to. I don't know why they have to say the things they say. Whatever their internal or domestic politics is, I guess they'll navigate it. But we know what they agreed to do, and now they'll either do it or they won't. And if they do, the process moves forward, and if they don't, the president will have some decisions to make. I think there is a framework and an outline upon which we can make real progress. I think good groundwork was laid over the last 72 hours, but a lot of work remains to be done, and we want to hear from our partners. We want to make sure that their views are taken into account, and we understand their security concerns, their regional economic concerns as well.
All right, so that's part of what he said. He was also asked about Lebanon, because one of the concerns I've had here is we have kind of legitimized the existence of Hezbollah in Lebanon as a part of Iran. Iran has tried to make Hezbollah and a ceasefire with Hezbollah a part of this whole deal because Iran wants to keep not only its terrorist proxies, but they want to keep a foothold in Lebanon. So we have tried to make this all kind of part of the deal here, and that concerns me because, no, Hezbollah is a terrorist organization. They have basically invaded a sovereign country, and they're constantly sending rockets to Israel. Still doing that. So this idea we should play nice with them too is a little bit annoying. So Rubio did address that, though. I liked his answer, believe it or not. So Secretary of State Marco Rubio, play cut 2 for me.
Lebanese and Israeli officials are meeting in Washington as we speak. Yeah. Is it your position that that process should be separate from Iran peace deal?
Well, that process is separate. It's separate because Lebanon is a sovereign country. It has a government. And when it comes to Lebanon and what's happening inside of Lebanon, we're going to negotiate and deal directly with the Lebanese government. I spoke to President Ayoun along with the Vice President a few moments ago, spoke to him on Friday. Their people are there now on the ground directly. So the reason why that issue is over... Now, there's an Iranian issue with regards to Lebanon, and that is their support and sponsorship of Hezbollah. And so that factor will be discussed as part of our conversations with the Iranians. But as far as the future of Lebanon belongs to the Lebanese people through their sovereign elected government. And that's who we're going to be working with.
So there you go. I mean, that's good because that should be a separate issue. We should not legitimize Hezbollah and legitimize Iran in Lebanon by making that a part of this whole deal. And that's exactly what Iran's been trying to do since the beginning here. No, we should allow Lebanon to once again be a better country. They used to be a better country, and allow the actual government in Lebanon control of their own country. And, of course, allow Israel to defend themselves. But as I mentioned, Democrats and some Republicans voted on this war powers resolution because they want to stop Trump from conducting this. Going to play Hakeem Jeffries. So this is House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Democrat, talking about it.
Higher gas prices and higher food prices that can be directly attributed to the Trump Republican reckless war of choice in Iran. Bottom line is that we shouldn't spend another dime of taxpayer dollars on Operation Epic Failure. When Pete Hegseth comes up to Capitol Hill tomorrow, what he should do is submit his letter of resignation.
Oh my gosh, I just can't take these people seriously. Oh, what he should do is submit his letter of resignation. Okay, so we're not going to have a serious conversation about the actual war and what's needed and negotiations. We're just going to have our typical talking points. Okay. Now, the only one with any sense in the Democrat Party right now is John Fetterman, Democrat out of Pennsylvania. I think at this point, it would not surprise me if either the Democrats kick him out in the primary or he runs as an independent. I don't think he'll switch Republican. Maybe he will. It surprised me if President Trump ends up campaigning for Fetterman. Even though, I mean, on Israel, he's great. On some other issues, he's great. He's still pretty left-wing on a lot of issues. We kind of forget that. But go ahead and play the John Fetterman cut for me.
I'm going to continue to follow Israel through all of this in their interest and the kinds of security that they demand. And for me, that's why I was being the only Democrat that would vote and continue to vote for it.
All right, there you go. And he's right about that. It's kind of sad that that's the fact. But there you go. So the negotiations continue. I still really, like Trump says, we can finish the job. It'd take about a week. Can we just do that then? I know it's not going to happen. If you want to weigh in, you can. We have our Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. Right now, I got to weigh in on my good friends at the Huntsville Men's Clinic. Guys, if you deal with issues with energy, brain fog, maybe issues in the bedroom, I bet your wife, your loved ones, they're probably tired of hearing your excuses. Just getting older. There's nothing I can do. The reason why they're tired of it is they hear me give this ad, and there is something you can do. You can contact my friends at the Huntsville Men's Clinic, and it's very easy to do. Go to the website, make an appointment. Under 30 seconds, it's all it takes to make an appointment on the website, HuntsvilleMen'sClinic.com, powered by Men's Pro, real doctors, real providers, real treatments, and about 92% of men who have tried the treatments have seen results at the Huntsville Men's Clinic. Make an appointment today and change your life. Stop with those excuses. HuntsvilleMen'sClinic.com, HuntsvilleMen'sClinic.com. When you contact them, let them know Yaffee was the one who sent you. All right, we'll be back in a moment here on the Yaffee Program.
The Yaffee Program.
All right, we're back here on News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM WVNN. Yes, this is your woke detox center. You deal with a lot of woke nonsense in your life somewhere. Why don't you just turn on this show or the podcast? If you listen to the podcast, listen to me, and you just feel better. It's a cleanse. It's a rehab. What can I say? I am here for you. So we had the latest news, talked about it a little bit earlier, where President Trump this morning posted on Truth Social that he is delaying any vote on this housing bill. Now, there's a part of me that wonders if he really just doesn't want to sign it because there are other issues with it. But he is delaying any vote on this housing bill because he wants them to pass the Save America Act. Now, Senator Mike Lee out of Utah, he's been kind of out there saying what we need to do at the very least is, Thune, bring it up to the floor and you have sort of a debate over this, and you just basically force everyone to stay until something is voted on here. Continuing to have a debate on this, and you kind of and this is how he put it. You kind of exhausted the Democrats into finally just supporting it. I'm not sure that would work, but that's kind of the strategy because you need. There were fewer Republicans who voted against Trump on the War Powers resolution. There are going to be a few that vote against nuking the filibuster. I just don't think it's going to happen. So you have to have some kind of other strategy here. But Trump really wants to get this done. And I don't blame him. The idea that we shouldn't have voter ID is kind of silly. We need to be able to trust the voting system. And there are so many problems in so many states where it just breeds distrust into the system. Now, Tommy Tuberville was talking about this yesterday, one of our U.S. senators. He's going to be our next governor. He was on the Benny Johnson show talking about this issue and also reacting to the fact that there was a judge who apparently went against Trump on something. I'll read some of this from 1819 News, actually, before I play the cut for you. But Tuberville shared his reaction to a federal judge's ruling that the Trump administration effort to create a national database linking Social Security numbers with citizenship status violated privacy laws and has led states to wrongly purge voters. So it was Judge Sparkle Suknan of Trinidad and Tobago. Sparkle? Anyway, a Biden appointee wrote in her ruling about the SAVE system, said, all in all, the federal government has knowingly trampled on the privacy rights of American citizens in a manner that threatens the sacred right to vote. It's a left-wing judge. So Tuberville kind of reacted to this whole situation. Now, we don't know what happens next because the Supreme Court's been kind of going against district judges putting forward federal injunctions. But go ahead if you can, Walker. Play the Tuberville cut that I sent you.
Well, it shows you how things we've got turned around. The President of the United States has to be a natural-born citizen of this country, but they have to take orders from these people from third world countries that are coming in being elected to the judiciary. It makes no sense whatsoever. Again, we've lost our mind. And, we've got so many people now in this country that are not Americans that get to make those decisions, unfortunately, because they have the right. They don't have the right, but they are voting. And so it's putting us in harm's way. There's no other way to put it. And, again, the Save America Act is the most important piece of legislation since I've been here for 6 years. And, again, it's only because it's not like 10, 15 years ago. It's only because you've had communist socialist presidents like Biden and Obama allow people to come here to vote. And there has to be some rules about that. And nobody up here, there's not a majority up here that can put an answer to that. I've got an answer to it. Vote the Save America Act. But again, we've got 49 votes. We need 60. Democrats aren't going to vote for it. They've got the ball in their court. They're going to keep it away from us if President Trump's out. And they're going to run this country in the ground as fast as they possibly can because they love power.
All right, there you go. I tend to agree with them on that. I still think the bigger issue isn't even illegal immigrants voting. They don't have to vote to make the difference. All that has to happen is they're counted in the census. And unfortunately, they end up being counted. So you leave open borders, you get millions of people into this country. They flock to Democrat sanctuary cities. And even if they don't vote, they're counted in the census, which means eventually they get more representation in those areas than maybe they should. So you get more Democrat seats basically in Congress and other areas. That's one of the bigger problems here. The real issue is they should not be counted in the census. Now, on another issue I wanted to talk about real quick because we have a couple of minutes here. I brought it up earlier this week, but we had what's going on in Major League Baseball with Pride Night, where Tuberville's commented on that. Barry Moore, others have commented on that. I think Katie Britt did as well. But it was really Josh Hawley who sent a letter to the commissioner of Major League Baseball. And I mentioned he had just had enough. And this is the issue where they had a Pride Night, San Francisco Giants, a couple of the players put Bible verses next to the rainbow logo and everything else. Well, Major League Baseball did come out yesterday, the commissioner, and basically said they're not going to do any disciplinary action. They want to make it more clear to the players that they don't have to wear the pride issues. I think there's just a big reckoning. You talk about reckonings in this country. There's a big reckoning from average people in this country who are just tired of this nonsense. So Josh Hawley was the one who got the letter back, got an answer back from the commissioner of Major League Baseball. Go ahead and play the Josh Hawley cut for me, Walker.
Well, the double standard is absolutely glaring, and I think they know that, and I think it's why they had to admit they'd done the wrong thing here. In his letter to me, the commissioner admitted that he was wrong to even verbally discipline or question the players. He admitted that he did that without knowing what the circumstances were. He shouldn't have done it, and he promised to me there will be no fines, no discipline, not only for this incident, but never for any player expressing their religious beliefs. He also said that the players are not, in fact, forced and cannot be forced to wear these uniforms, which I think, to be honest with you, was news to a lot of players. I think they realize it's time to get off the woke train. You know, the country doesn't want it. Their fan base doesn't want it. The First Amendment doesn't allow it, and enough is enough.
I'd agree with that last part. By the way, one angle to this story I had not heard until today. Not only did Major League Baseball come out and say they might, you're not allowed to do that on the hats, but apparently the Giants, the team, and Major League Baseball put out an official apology to the LGBTQ community because a couple of players did this with the Bible verse. Well, that could offend them, and they put out an official policy on it. So that's why Josh Hawley and others are like, oh, look, we're going to look into what's going on here. And when he talked about the double standard, we all know, and it actually happened in the past, where if they wrote Black Lives Matter or something like that on their hats, that would be fine. We're not going to punish them. There was no issue then. But when it's a Bible verse, then it becomes a problem. See the double standard there? That was kind of what he was referring to. There are other double standards as well that we've talked about on this issue, but it's pretty much what he was referring to there. So we'll see what happens in the future when it comes to Major League Baseball on this issue. By the way, if you missed any of the show so far, the podcast will be up on the website, WVNN.com, and we have our Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. Coming up next, What's Trending? Walker is here while in the show with the Yaffee program rewind as well. You are listening to the Yaffee program. Back in just a moment.
It's the Yaffee program on WVNN.
Hey there, I'm Paula Pan. I help people make the smartest money decisions possible. If you don't control your money, it controls you.
Yeah, you're not in control of your finances and you have to look outside of yourself to live the life that you want. You're not in control of your life.
Like, what is it that you actually want? Money should follow the dreams and goals, because sometimes we make the dream and goal the money and you've overworked yourself and you've exceeded what you've needed for the actual thing you want. Sometimes we forget, what's the actual thing you want?
Afford anything. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Welcome back to the show. News Talk 770 AM 92.5 FM WVNN. This is the Yaffee program. Don't forget to like the Yaffee Facebook page. Follow me on X at Yaffee or Instagram at Yaffee Live. And, of course, you can find WVNN on all of those places as well. Walker is here, so let's get right to it. We have What's Trending with Walker.
Keeping you up to date with all that's trending in your world.
Oh, they have the internet on computers now.
You guys know how to post videos to Facebook?
It's What's Trending.
Sponsored by Coleman Furniture Market. Gotta tell you about their Big America 250 sale, celebrating 250 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Coming up on July 4th, but the sale is going on right now. This is how it works. If you spend over $1,776, so $1,776, you can get $250 off. That really is an amazing deal. And I'm talking, that deal is good for mattresses, for recliners, for sofas, for dining room tables, for patio furniture, and much, much more. All available at Coleman Furniture Market in the heart of Coleman, Alabama. Now, it cannot be combined with other offers, but you want to go see more about the sale right now. Go to the website, ColemanFurnitureMarket.com. See some of the stuff on sale right now on their Facebook page and Instagram page. There's a reason why most of the furniture in my home is from Coleman Furniture Market, and now there's even a better reason to go with their Big America 250 sale. So go today. When you do, let them know Yaffee was the one who sent you. All right, Walker, what's number 5 today?
Number 5 today, Mars has removed blue and brown from the M&Ms because...
Mars candy, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes. They have started
artificial dyes.
Yeah, they have been transitioning from artificial to natural food dye, and it was too expensive for them to recreate the blue color. I'm not sure about the brown. I haven't.
Yeah, you would think they could find something to do the brown.
I would think so too, especially because it's already chocolate. So you would think that they could use cocoa powder for that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it would look a little bit different, but not enough. I remember when the blue M&M first came out. They didn't always have blue. I think I was a kid, but I think I remember that.
I definitely do not remember that. I'm sure that was before I was born, but
probably. I think it was like the 90s. They made a big deal about the new blue character. You know, my daughter Evie's going to be upset about this. She likes to pick an M&M. You know, we'll give her one every now and then, and sometimes she picks brown, sometimes she picks blue. She's not going to know what to do.
I have a habit of when I eat candy like that I can't eat the same color twice in a row. I have to.
You know, it'll taste the same, right? I'm just,
I know. I don't know why I do that. I guess it might be like a small OCD thing.
Yeah, sure it is. Well, it's weird too because like over Christmas you can get the red and green ones, and taste the same, but for some reason it like tastes better to me. Like Christmas M&M makes no sense.
There's some Christmas magic in there.
Yeah, exactly. All right, what's number 4?
Number 4, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles will be a live on stage theatric performance that will open
Like a
in
Broadway show?
Yes, it is a live theatrical tour.
Nice.
It's marking the 40th anniversary of the series, and it will start in the fall of 2027.
Well, if you want to get your kids into the theater, you can take them to this. It's like a good way to get them involved, I think.
I'm really wondering what they'll do with it, because I don't...
Were you ever into Ninja Turtles? Because I definitely was.
I remember having the orange DVD cases.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I remember that. I mean, mine was an orange VHS, but...
And I did enjoy it, but it's been so long since I've watched any of it that it's hard to remember exactly what happened. I always thought that the characters looked cool, especially the villain.
Right, Shredder.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what this really is? This is trying to get adults into the theater based on nostalgia. So it's like they were kids and they like Ninja Turtles. So how do we get adults back to watching Ninja Turtles? Oh, let's do a Broadway show on it.
Right. It is.
Which will work. I will totally go see it.
Yeah, it's being produced by Paramount. And the director is Jennifer Weber, she is a 2-time Tony nominee. The show will have martial arts, parkour, hip hop, and comedy.
I have to look up where it's. I wouldn't mind seeing this. I'm not gonna lie. I think Evie's a little too young. Izzy's definitely too young, but I kind of, I think me and Steffi can go on a date night to see Ninja Turtles in the theater. I like it.
Yeah, and I'm sure that it's along with getting adults to go back for nostalgic reasons, they can also take their kids, and now their kids are interested in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is one of those things where they've had different iterations of the Ninja Turtles for like multiple generations now.
Mm-hmm.
So they have they just had a new movie. I never did see it, but it came out a couple of years ago. So they figured out a way to keep it going, which is kind of interesting. Okay, what's number 3?
Number 3, Little Caesars is partnering.
Is awesome.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
Partnering up with Sony and launching a Spider-Man themed Webberoni pizza.
Okay.
It's ahead of the July 31st release of Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Mm-hmm. What does it look like, I wonder? Now I got to look it up here.
So the pepperoni is shredded in a way that they can make it look like a spider web.
Ah, okay. I'm going to look it up here.
And it's $8.99.
I'm going to say any excuse I have to go to Little Caesars anyway. Oh, I see. Yeah, they shredded it up, the pepperonis, like you said.
Right.
Okay, I'm in. I'm done. That sounds good.
And
the movie looks like it's going to be good, by the way. That's another subject.
I would say that is it Tom Holland? I don't want to get that wrong. But yeah. I think that all of his Spider-Man movies have been really good.
Yeah, I mean, this one looks like it's going to do very, very well. I have no doubt about it. They've really tried to make this a good one. So
yeah,
even with superhero fatigue out there, I think this one will do well.
I think so too. They are also having 3 poster designs available for purchase, rotating weekly starting July 6th.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. That's cool. All right, what's number 2?
Number 2, Meta has released new smart glasses starting at $299.
Yeah, they've had some of these already, but I guess these are new ones coming out.
Yes. says that it's at least $80 less than the price they had for the Ray-Ban Meta glasses. And while these don't have any screens on them, what you can do is talk to the AI that's in the glasses, and it will translate or explain things that you see around you or take photos and videos.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I've seen some of the Ray-Ban ones. I mean, I wouldn't buy it. I mean, I have a smartphone and a smartwatch and an Android Auto in the car. Like, at some point, I don't need another AI thing. But and they're kind of expensive, and I don't wear glasses enough. Like, I don't wear glasses, so I would only need the sunglasses, and it just doesn't seem worth it. But it seems to be getting more and more popular.
Yeah, I personally, I tend to use stuff like Google Lens for translating stuff that I can't read. But also, if I'm interested in something around me, I'm just going to look it up.
Yeah, on the phone. Like,
Right.
yeah, it's not really that hard to look up, to get your phone out and look it up, like it's not a big burden to do that. So that absolutely need glasses to help you out. It's like a cool feature, I guess, but it's not something that I, would feel like I really, really want or something.
Right. And this time they're partnering with Kylie Jenner to release one of the styles as what I assume to be her signature sunglasses look.
Oh, okay. Okay. Interesting. All right. What's number one?
Number one, Trump will be speaking at the Great American State Fair tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And
where is this happening?
It's at the National Mall in Washington, D.C.
Oh, is everyone talking about this because the reflecting pool is still algae filled or whatever?
Well, and the paint is peeling off.
Yeah, exactly.
After all that work I don't think it was worth it.
Well, it was worth it if it worked, but
yeah.
He's saying it was vandalized. We'll have to see. But what's going on with the state fair?
It is a free public event that will be running for 16 days. Tickets are available online for free. And they have different music performances. They have jet shows flying over, and then several speakers.
I mean, it sounds like fun. I wouldn't mind going. It's just going to be really crowded, I'm sure. Where are you going to stay?
Yeah, I can't imagine how many people will be there.
Yeah.
The doors
That's
open
the only thing.
at...
You better plan ahead if you're going to that thing.
Yeah, the doors open at 3:30 p.m.
Okay, well, cool. There you go. Appreciate it, Walker. Thank you so much. We'll be back with the Yaffee program rewind here in just a moment on WVNN.
You're listening to Yaffee on WVNN.
We're back here on the Yaffee program. This is News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Glad you joined the show. Today? Don't forget, we have a great lineup continuing on with The Vince Show coming up next. Christopher Reed and the Daily Controversy after that. Mark Levin this evening as well. Right now, though, it's that time of the show once again where we have the Yaffee program rewind. And it is that time of the show again as well, where I remind you, if you missed any of it live, well, the podcast up on the website, WVNN.com, or anywhere you get your podcasts. So pretty easy to do. Go to WVNN.com or subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or get the WVNN app, the TuneIn Radio app, the iHeartRadio app. I mean, I can't make it any easier for you. If you missed the show live, check out the podcast. And the rewind is brought to you by Jay's Appliance Outlet. I want you to kick off your summer with some big deals at Jay's Appliance Outlet. They're over there off 72 in Athens. You'll see the sign. It says up to 60% off new appliances. That's because that's what they have. Whether you're getting your home ready for summer gatherings or You just need some reliable appliances, or maybe yours is not working and you need something new now. Well, Jay's, they have brands you trust at prices that keep your budget in check. From brand new refrigerators to scratch and dent washers and dryers, they have overstock deals as well. I want you to give them a call if you need a new appliance. They're a family-owned business. You always get friendly, honest service you can count on with real help from people who care. So like I said, their showroom's off 72 in Athens. It's right next to the Dollar General, right before the Pep Boys up there. Go to jaysapplianceoutlet.com, jaysapplianceoutlet.com, or dial pound 250. Say the keywords Jay's Appliance Outlet. Jay's Appliance Outlet, real savings, reliable appliances, and service you can count on all summer long. Let them know you heard about it from Yaffee. So recapping what we talked about on the show today, and a reminder once again, check out the podcast. At the beginning of the show, I had talked about the fact that Zohran Mamdani, he's almost like Trump, where he's had some endorsements, and the candidates he's endorsing, rallying for, have won. And the question really is then, why is it that democratic socialism is doing well in some of these areas? You can chalk it up to education. You can chalk it up to illegal immigration. But honestly, they are willing, at the very least, to deal with issues that are affecting the middle class and the lower classes. The price of housing, the price of health care, the price of child care, and the price of education. Their solutions are terrible. It's just more socialism, just so you know. It's going to make the problem worse. But I've been warning Republicans, if you don't at the very least deal with those problems, you're going to lose some of these elections. Now, of course, he's been very anti-Israel as well. Go and play the Zohran Mamdani cut for me, Walker.
Some members of the Jewish community, including Democratic Congressman Josh Gottheimer, were alarmed by the language he used at the rally last week, calling AIPAC monsters who move dark money. These are phrases that invoke old anti-Semitic tropes and conspiracy theories. What do you say to those who are concerned that the language you used is dangerous?
Now, I want to be very clear. We're talking about a status quo where children are being killed on a daily basis. More than 1,000 Palestinians have been killed by the Israeli military since the so-called ceasefire. Even an Al Jazeera journalist, Ahmed Wishah, was killed this past Saturday by an Israeli strike. And when I am speaking about AIPAC, I'm speaking about an organization that has been supportive of the status quo, that has fought any attempt to actually deliver safety to people not just in Palestine, but frankly, through much of the region. And it is a status quo for immorality. It is one that I will not accept. And when it comes to the way in which they defend the status quo, oftentimes they defend it through direct contributions, as we are seeing right now in New York 13. Oftentimes they also support the status quo through dark money, by filtering money that would have previously been directly from AIPAC, now through other shell organizations whose identities of their contributors are only made clear after an election. And I think that it is important that when we ask ourselves how such death and destruction is happening overseas, we also name those who allow it to take place.
All right, we're going to go.
No, you're not naming those. You are not naming Hezbollah and Hamas. That's who you should name if you're going to have a problem with violence over there. So we talked about that earlier. The podcast is up. We have the Alabama bullet points as well, including some stories about economic growth in the state. So check out the bullet points on the podcast. We had Congressman Barry Moore on, who's running for the U.S. Senate. He talked about his bill and a new poll that shows the majority of parents in this country would support warning labels or a rating system when it comes to kids programming and LGBTQ content. So we talked about that. Also the fact that he voted against a housing bill that Katie Britt supported that actually passed. Trump was going to sign it, but then Trump said today he's not going to sign it yet because he wants them to pass the Save America Act. So we talked about that. The podcast is up. Then earlier this hour, we talked about the latest in Iran. You have President Trump saying that Iran has agreed to allow inspectors into their country, but Iran is saying no, that they didn't. Already, this is a problem. Already. But Marco Rubio is in the Middle East today. He is continuing negotiations. So we played some cuts of him. We talked about that earlier on in the show, of course. And yes, Tommy Tuberville as well did an interview talking about the Save America Act, where he's pushing to really have this passed. But we can see if it ever actually does get passed. And we had What's Trending with Walker. So thanks to Walker for producing today. Thanks to you for listening. The Vince Show is coming up next. I'll be back tomorrow at the same time. See you then.
The Yaffee Program. Square up.
Yo, what's going on, man? It's Andre Berto, two-time world champion. I fought. I loved it. I really wanted to do that sit down from a fighter's perspective. My G. What's going on? Caleb Platts. What's going on, my boy? Now you got a chance to really draw in your audience, to let them see who you are.
I've had to have a lot of internal talks to say, do I even want to carry on?
As fighters, we know what time it is. Like I think the time is now.
Square up.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform. Let's go.